Hi, this is a quick introduction to a new piece of software we've been developing called Syncro, which is a plugin for Wireshark. So let me get straight into this, and I'll start off by telling you about the design brief. We set out to write a simple plugin that would enable us to use an external program to move within the packet list of Wireshark. So all we wanted to be able to do was have the software that we'd written be able to send commands to Wireshark and to cause it to jump around within a displayed trace. And I'm going to demonstrate this later. We also wanted to be able to detect a user moving within the trace. So as the user used the go-to facility or simply moved the cursor up and down within the packet list, we wanted any movement within the trace to be reflected back to the external program. We'd like to be able to detect the change of a capture file or even the name of the current capture file, but actually we haven't achieved this yet, so this is still work in progress. The solution had to work with multiple instances, and what I mean by this is multiple instances of Wireshark. So if we had one copy or 10 copies running, the solution needed to work across all 10 copies. Very importantly, we wanted to design something that didn't require any change to the core code of Wireshark. And that meant we needed to write it as a plugin dissector. And the software has been written as a C++ plugin, which is a bit unusual because plugins are usually written in C, but in this case this one's been written in C++. So you see here at the bottom of this diagram an external program that's going to be used to command Wireshark. Then we have the actual plugin, which includes a small TCP service, so the external program connects to the Syncro plugin using a TCP connection. Then we have some logic, program logic, and that communicates via the plugin interface package that comes with Wireshark into the core code of Wireshark. So what we then see is we see commands that flow from the external program through the Syncro plugin, through the plugin interface, and then into the Wireshark code. And in the opposite direction we see responses to those commands and events such as movements within the packet list coming back in the opposite direction. So those are the two pieces. Let's start by looking at how we install Syncro. So Syncro is available via the TribeLab site. I'm showing here as me being logged in, but you don't actually have to log into the site to get access to Syncro. When you come into this list, you'll see Syncro. It's low lighted here at the moment because it's not actually live at the time of recording this video, but it will appear just like any of these other sections of the site. So we click on that, and that brings us into this page, and here we have resources to help in the use of Syncro, a support forum, a user guide, and here's the actual plugin code to be downloaded. This is actually a zip file, so we can click there and download the zip. It's giving a warning here, but we can keep the code, and then we take that zip file contains a single DLL, and what we do is we copy that DLL into program files. Wireshark, I've called this Wireshark 2 because I'm still running version 1 and 2, plugins 2, and then there's the plugin, Syncro DLL. So that's where I've installed it, and once I've got that installed, I can start Wireshark in the normal way. But you'll notice that now I have this additional button here called Syncro, and if I click on that, it shows you that Syncro is actually listening on port 8090. So that's the TCP service in Syncro. So what I'm going to do is use, I'm going to start off by just using putty. I won't cheat and use my profile there. I'm going to just say I want local host, and I want basically a raw connection, and I'm going to use port 8090. I open that up, and you can see this is effectively a welcome message from Syncro telling me that I'm connected. Now I can then start up or open a file. When Wireshark loads a capture file, it scans that file twice, and so you see it going through phase 1 and phase 2. That's just indicating the scans are all complete, and now we're in a ready status with a capture file loaded, and we're at position 1. And as you see over here, we are at indeed in frame number 1 in the capture file. Now we're using tab delimiters here. This is the default. You can actually change the delimiters, which I'll show you later. But anyway, what I can do is I can put in a simple, whoops, let's go to the right window, put in a simple command. I'm hitting the tab key there. It comes up as Control I, but I'm hitting the tab key. Command, go to frame 22. And you can see that indeed Wireshark jumps to frame 22, and it tells you I've moved to frame 22. And so I can keep moving around in the trace file, and it obeys my every command, which is good. The other thing I can do though is if I just simply click on another frame in the packet list, you can see that Wireshark is telling my terminal I've now moved to 53, and I can move around within this. Now it purposely doesn't show every single movement if I move quickly. So if I, for example, if I hold down the up arrow key, you'll see that it just shows the last position. We decided to do this so that it doesn't flood any connections with lots and lots of movements, or even flood the application. If you want to open up the source code, and that will be available through the TribeLab site, you can go and change this timer value that actually prevents it from sending multiple move requests, move events. So that's quite simple to change. Okay, so perhaps something I should show you is the preference information. So there are some preferences that are settable in Syncro. So we have this first one. You notice that this, my instance here was starting on port number 8090, and you remember that one of the design criteria was that I had to be able to support multiple instances. And so what happens is it uses each port number sequentially after your base port number. So we'll see in a second that if I start a second copy of Wireshark, it will use port 8091. The other thing I can do is I can change the delimiter value. You can see that this is a tab value. Hex 9 is for tab, but I can actually change it to a character. So for example, I could change it to vertical bar. And you can see now that it's rescanned the file. I don't know why it's jumped around a bit, but we're back at frame 48, and now we've got a different delimiter. So in fact I can do command, whoops, doing it again, let's refocus. I can do command, go to frame 66, whoops. And it jumps to frame 66. So I can change the delimiter value. I'm going to change it back actually. So let's just change that back. The other thing I can do is I can ask Wireshark to close as soon as I disconnect. So let's leave this defaulted for the moment. Now if I close this connection, Wireshark stays running. But if I just connect into that again and I change the preference value, now if I close my connection, I think I'm going to have to restart Wireshark to get this to work. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so that required a restart. I'm not quite sure why, but I'll look at that. But this is useful if you, say, invoke Wireshark from another program and then you want it to close when you disconnect from that instance of Wireshark, which is certainly something that we wanted available for what we have in mind for it. So let's show something on the multiple instances piece. So we'll start one copy there and we'll start another copy. And you can now see that my first copy is listening on port 8090 and my second copy is on port 8091. So that's how we accommodate multiple instances. It does a test to check that the port is available, so you've got no chance of clashing with another existing running application. It will simply skip over that particular port number. So now we've got these two copies available here. I'm just going to quickly show you one further tool that we've made available on the website. I just need to quickly go into this. Oops, wrong place. So you'll find that you can download this small command line application called Syncbox. So if I start that, you can see it's immediately connected to my two copies of Wireshark. And now if I load up a file like that one, and over there, we'll load up that one. And now what you'll find is as we move around within the file, you can see that it's keeping both copies in sync. And in fact, so I'm focused on this left-hand instance of Wireshark here. If I skip over to the right-hand instance and I move around in there, you can see that it's moving around over here as well. So that's something that you can play around with, and the possible uses of this are possibly, say, for working with a colleague who you may both be looking at the same file but in two different locations, and one you can say to your colleague, look, here's something interesting at frame 12, and then your colleague might say, yeah, but there's something more interesting at frame 38, and so you're able to both work in a collaborative way on the same trace file, moving around. So that's one possible use for that. This is very much a proof of concept type program, so don't expect too much from it, but it does work, and the source code is also available on the TribeLab site, so you can certainly use that and build on that to produce something more powerful. So just to summarize, Syncro effectively provides a remote API by leveraging off of this plugin interface that's available in Wireshark. I think it could be taken much further, and this is very much a proof of concept. It's just to show what we think could be done with it. It will only work with Qt, and that's because the code in the plugin actually makes use of some Qt functions. So when you see it mention Qt, that means Wireshark version 2 only, and it won't work with the GTK version of Wireshark, even the version 2 GTK version of Wireshark. So Qt only. The source code for the plugin has to, it's an extension to Wireshark, and so we wanted to fit in with the Wireshark GPL. I'm not sure officially that we do right now, but I've put the copyright notices into the source code, and we'll certainly be talking to the Wireshark developers about it. You can download the DLL directly from the TribeLab site, which you've seen. There are some limitations and bugs, but it's good enough to get you going and to play with it. And we have made this small utility called SyncBox available, and the source code and the Windows executable and a couple of small DLLs that are needed are all available via the TribeLab site. So you should be able to go into the Syncro section of the TribeLab site. It doesn't require any form of subscription, so you can get immediate access. Okay, I hope you enjoy that. Best of luck. See you soon.